How machine guns changed everything. The end of the human wave in World War I. When the First World War began in 1914, Germany went into it with great confidence. Its army was among the most professional and disciplined in the world. The generals had a detailed plan known as the Schlieffen Plan. They wanted to knock France out of the war quickly by marching through Belgium and then turn east against Russia. On paper, it looked brilliant. In practice, it depended on a chain of perfect assumptions that all went wrong at once. Belgium resisted instead of giving way. Britain entered the war to defend Belgian neutrality. France did not collapse in 6 weeks, and Russia mobilized faster than anyone expected. The German armies found themselves stretched thin and exhausted. Supply lines could not keep up with the speed of the invasion. By September, the Germans were stopped at the Marne, and the dream of a quick victory was gone. By the end of 1914, both sides dug in from the North Sea to Switzerland. They built long lines of trenches protected by barbed wire and machine guns. This was the start of the stalemate on the Western Front. Soldiers tried to cross no man's land, only to be cut down by defensive fire. It was the birth of modern industrial war. Germany did not quit after 2 months, even though it was clear that the plan had failed. The government and the Kaiser saw the war as a struggle for survival. To give up would mean humiliation, loss of territory, and perhaps revolution at home. They still held occupied land in Belgium and France and had victories against Russia. Many leaders believed that one more push could still win it. Once a war on this scale had begun, there was no easy way to stop without accepting defeat on harsh terms. The early generals suffered from tunnel vision and poor foresight. They were not ignorant in skill, but they misread the new reality of technology. They still believed courage and mass could overcome firepower. The result was disaster. At battles like the Somme in 1916, tens of thousands died in a single day. On July 1st alone, 60,000 British soldiers were killed or wounded when they marched into German machine gun fire. How could so many die so fast? The answer was the combination of new weapons and old tactics. The British used week-long artillery bombardments that failed to destroy deep bunkers. German defenders waited underground and came out with machine guns once the shelling stopped. The attackers moved forward in straight lines across open fields, believing the enemy had been crushed. A single machine gun could fire hundreds of rounds a minute and sweep the ground in front of it. Entire waves of men were stopped before reaching the German wire. The generals expected courage to overcome bullets. The battlefield proved otherwise. You might wonder why, after a day like that, the commanders did not change course immediately. Part of the reason was the military culture of the time. Armies believed in the offensive spirit and saw retreat as weakness. Communication was slow, and information from the front was often wrong. Many senior officers thought the failures were due to poor execution rather than bad planning. They also faced pressure from politicians to keep attacking, to relieve the French army, and to show progress. It took years before tactics began to catch up with technology. Gradually, lessons were learned. Instead of sending massive waves of soldiers forward, armies began using smaller, more flexible groups, sometimes called bite-sized units. These squads had limited objectives, such as capturing one trench or strong point at a time. Artillery was used in a new way called the creeping barrage, where shells fell just ahead of the advancing infantry and moved forward in timed steps. This gave the attackers cover instead of leaving them exposed. Engineers, tanks, and machine gunners were coordinated together in what became known as combined arms tactics. Specially trained troops used infiltration methods to slip through weak spots instead of charging the strongest points. By 1918, the Allies could attack effectively without the same scale of slaughter that marked 1916. If we step back, we can see how humans and societies evolved since then. The people themselves are not biologically different, but training, culture, and technology have changed behavior. Modern soldiers fight in smaller units, communicate instantly, and use night vision sensors and body armor. They rely on precision and coordination rather than numbers and courage alone. Public attitudes toward war are different too. Casualties that once seemed acceptable now cause shock and political backlash. In 1914, Germany went into war overconfident and trapped itself in a two-front struggle it had always feared. In 1916, the great powers learned in blood that massed attacks no longer worked in an age of machine guns. In 1918, new ideas finally ended the stalemate. The First World War became a lesson in how fast technology can outpace doctrine, and how slowly institutions adapt when pride and tradition get in the way. The result was a generation scarred by loss and a permanent change in how nations think about war. The machine gun ended the age of the human wave and forced the birth of modern combined arms warfare.